Welcome to These Are the Blades of Our Lives, the figure skating show where I talk to you about figure skating like it is drama for our mamas. On today's episode, we will be recapping the U.S. Nationals. But however, before we get to the skating, I would like to take a moment to discuss one Mr. Alexandra Zulin, who made the following statement. Mr. Zulin stated, I quote, "Make any American who has passed puberty and gained a little weight perform at least triple clean. None of them can do it." Now, I know some of you might be thinking, what a pig. But I would like to ask you to refrain from comparing Mr. Zulin to pigs. Because for those who enjoy a slice of bacon, some pork rib, some fried pork, pigs are a nutritious, delicious source of fiber. And let us also not forget that pig manure is a great source of fertilizer, which helps to revitalize and renew the earth. And according to farmers, pigs are intelligent and adorable creatures. So on behalf of pigs everywhere, I would please ask you not to compare Zulin to such a noble creature. Now, others of you might want to compare Zulin to shit. Yes, shit, human feces. Again, I would like to ask you guys to reframe, because as we have discovered, human feces is a great source of clean, renewable energy. That is right. We can use human feces to make energy. So please refrain from comparing Zulin to such a useful waste product. Now, as for Zulin's statements, I feel like the U.S. ladies more than answered Zulin. What did we see at U.S. Nationals? We had Miss Star Andrews, age 21, triple toe. We had Miss Amber Glenn, age 23, triple flip, triple toe. We had Miss Brady Tennell, age 24, triple lutz, triple toe. We had Miss Gracie Gold, age 27, triple lutz, triple toe. Now, Mr. Zulin, I'm not going to ask you to show us your list of Russian women who are 20 who could still do triples. We all know that list composed of one, the only, the Empress Elizaveta Tuktamisheva. So I won't ask you to show us your 20-year-olds who could do triple double, or even a single triple. What I would like for you to do instead is show us a list of your 18 to 20-year-olds who still have their original hips, their original knees, their original God-given backs. Show us your 18 to 20-year-olds who could still bend and touch their knees, the ones who could still turn left and right completely. We'll wait for that list. The fact that you, Mr. Zulin, do not realize the detrimental problem that your system is causing to these young women shows us exactly how big of a part of that problem you are. So, sir, take a seat. Now that we are done with Mr. Zulin, let us get to the U.S. National, the skating, starting with men. The men were very inconsistent, which is nothing new. Men as a whole is always very inconsistent. In the U.S., we had Camden Pulkinen, Jimmy Ma, giving us more of the same. Then we had Tomoki Hiwatashi, who showed up for the short. Remember when I was saying Tomoki always shows up for national, gets his little spot to full continent, and then calls it a day? He showed up for the short program, and I was like, yeah, Tomoki! And then he disappeared for the long. I have seen skaters pop a jump. I have seen skaters fall of a jump. I have never seen a skater pop a jump and then fall. I feel like Tomoki was just, I don't know what was going on with Tomoki. Then we have Yaroslav Panat, Yes, he does have the jumping firepower. However, his landings are not pretty. That is the nicest thing I could say about his jumps. Those landings are not pretty. And I don't, and with his current skating skills, even if he can land the quads, I just don't see if that's going to get him out of US Nationals. Maybe they'll give him a Grand Prix or two and some senior Bs next season, and we could see him how he fares up internationally. But he barely is at the top in US men's. So I really don't know if it's really worth the effort. Now, having spoken about these other men, to the medals. The bronze medal went to Andrew Togashev. Wow, this was the surprise of the men's event for me. Way to fight back. I'm not sure this is a one and done for Andrew, and I pray that it's not. I hope that he's finally healed after years of injury, and this is him slowly rebuilding his career. Because even though this was not his best outing, the talent is there. The raw material is there. He is a skater that emotes. He is a skater with some skating skill. And I feel like if he can get to a place where he's healthy, if he gets the right coaching staff around him, if he's in a good environment, we could really start to see something from Andrew. And let us be honest, the men's pool in the US is not deep. It is not deep. So US figure skating needs to invest in whoever they can, and maybe Andrew can be one of those investments. And then the gold medal, of course, went to Illia Malinin. As expected, he won. Technically, really sound. This was the first time this season that he had a clean short program. However, the long program was not great. But that last jump combination that he just threw in literally goes to show how technically sound this he's such a fighter. Like, I don't even know how to say how much strength and will it must have taken him to realize, okay, I've messed up in two jumping passes. I need to do something. And then to think so quickly on his feet and to just put out that jumping pass really shows like how well trained he is, what a fighter he is, and what a quick thinker he also is. Now, having said that, I don't know if it's because I watched so much skating during that weekend period, but he's a very slow skater. And maybe it's also because he went right after Jason Brown, who happens to be a very fast skater, but Ilya just seems to be a very slow skater. And I think having better skating skills would help with his speed. So I really want to see him at Worlds and try to compare him to the Japanese who do have really good skating skills, who do have a lot of speed, and see if this was a one-time thing or if he really is such a slow skater. Now to the skate that mattered the most to me, Mr. Jason Brown and his silver medal. The first time that Jason is competing all season and he delivers a spellbinding short program. This is the skating that only Jason Brown can deliver. This short program went immediately into my figure skating rewatch playlist, and I will be pulling that short program and rewatching it over and over again. This is what I enjoy as a fan of figure skating. This is why I stay in figure skating despite all the ugliness. I stay for these moments of brilliant where a skater makes you feel. That's what Jason Brown is to figure skating. He makes us feel. He makes us understand there could be a combination of technical and artistry and it could be beautiful. That triple axel, it was a beauty, a thing of beauty. All I have to say about the men is thank God for Jason Brown. USS of A, this is the best thing you have ever done. I don't know what you had to give Jason, but whatever it was, double it. Because even though the long program was not perfect, again, just another beautiful combination of artistry and technical prowess combined. And guys, imagine if Jason can do that program clean at Worlds. It will go straight into my rewatch bin. Like, I want skating that makes me feel. We have to think all the time in the world. I don't want to have to think about skating. I want skating that makes me feel, and that is what Jason Brown brings to skating. So, my biggest takeaway from the US men is thank God for Jason Brown. Thank you, Jason Brown. Now, pairs at US Nationals is probably the discipline that I have the least to say anything about. It really was a one pair show. Pairs at US National really was all about Alexa Knierim and Brendan Fraser. The other pairs, I mean, I feel like the discipline of pairs globally is in a restructuring process. And I've said this in all of my videos, and this is just me repeating myself. We all know, we know it, the pairs know it, the federations know it, that if Russia was competing right now as things stand with all of these pairs doing double twists, double throws, side by side double doubles, the Russians would have clobbered the rest of the world in pairs. That is just the reality because the pairs program in Russia is so well structured, it's so deep, they have so many skaters. And again, because it's state sponsored, they have that leeway. Whereas I feel like pairs in North America, pairs in Europe, pairs in Asia, they're just now starting to build. So, of course, there wasn't much to see at US Nationals in terms of pairs. Um, I was surprised by the new pairing of Emily Kahn and Daniil Shea. Honestly, if I was US figure skating, I would invest in this pair. Yes, this outing was a little bit rough for them, but for a pair that just got together, their lifts really good. Their lines really match each other. Aesthetically, I feel like they're the kind of pair that the judges would get behind and promote if they could just manage to, be somewhat clean. If they can get like that them double double side by side down, if they can get a double throw and then just do some beautiful lifts, I feel in this current environment, I could see the judges getting behind them. In second place was Emily Chen and Spencer Howe. It was more of the same. This pair, world class elements, lack of competitive mindset. You can have all of the skills in practice, but if you cannot deliver them in a clean program when it comes time to compete, then you could never be a champion. I don't know what's going on with them because I feel like it's all mental. They definitely have all of the skills and talent that it takes to be at the top of skating. I just don't feel like they have the delivery. And then, of course, Alexa Canero and Brendan Fraser. This was not their best outing, but it was pretty good. They really are taking advantage. Again, just like in ice dance, the fact that Richie and Riki could not participate at Japanese nationals is left the door open. And Alexa and Brendan walked right into that door and they made their statement. We want to be world champion again. Here's why you should give it to us. Still don't love their packaging. That could keep her gray with the red vein outfit for the short. Really not my cup of tea. But in terms of element, the jumps, the throws, the lifts, they are the best team element for element competing right now internationally. If you put them against all the other team, and that's even against fan favorite Riku and Ryuchi, they are the better pair. Now, are they going to show up at World as the better pair? That's yet to be seen. But I feel like with this outing, They didn't do themselves any disservice. The other thing that I think US figure skating needs to do is they need to start looking towards the younger generation and really start figuring out how to grow that next generation of pairs. Because obviously the current pairs now, they're going to retire. They're not making a lot of progress. So we're going to have to start looking towards those younger generation. And I feel like Sonia Baram and Daniil Tutmentuspi, I know I said that name wrong, but I was trying to fake it like I didn't. I feel like Sonia and Daniil and the other younger pairs, we the US really needs to put the time, the effort, the funding behind them while there is this breathing period, while the Russians are not dominating everything. Give them the experience, give them the coaching staff they need, send them out at as many competition as you can and help them build that self-confidence so that they are able to stand on the international stage when that time comes. But all in all, pairs was more or less what I expected, and I don't really have anything to say about that particular discipline. From a discipline that I did not have a lot to say, pairs, to a discipline that I have a whole lot to say, ice dance. Oh my God, the shenanigan, the politicking, the burying that went on in pairs. So I'm just going to talk about the top 5 team because if I don't, this video will go on forever. Starting with Emily Bratti and Ian Somerville. I'm so glad the judges are getting behind this pair. Like I had said in my previous video, my prediction video, I really think the US needs to start building that next B team of ice dancers in the US because eventually, the top A teams are going to retire or they're going to, quit, whatever's going to happen to them. We need that B level team, those seniors who are just getting their feet wet, the juniors who are now transitioning into seniors, we need to start investing into them over some of the seniors who've had like 3, 4 seasons and are just stuck in the middle and the judges are not really paying attention to them. So seeing Emily Bratti and Ian Somerville in the top 5, I was like, yes, finally US figure skating is doing something right. Then US figure skating let me down. I cannot believe. Well, first of all, I was amazed that Amelia Zingas and Vladim Kolosnik they were in 3rd place after the rhythm dance. If anyone has followed figure skating for a long time, then you know the discipline of ice dance is that one discipline where it is all about seniority. You have to pay your dues, you have to put in the time, and then slowly, incrementally make your way up the ladder. So it is very rare, unless your mother is Iteri Tuberetsi, for a team to leap jump past all of their seniors and make it on the podium on a rhythm dance or the free dance. And that is exactly what Amelia and Valadine did in their debut at nationals. Like, mind you, Vadim has been on the scene for a long time. He was junior world champion with his former partner, Evelyn Newham. But this is a brand new partnership with Amelia, and she used to be a single skater. So she's coming from single skating to ice dance, and he is forming a new partnership with them. And to have US figure skating put them, rightfully so, in 3rd place after that short program, I was like, oh my God, this is revolutionary. And then, of course, come the free program, the shenanigans happen. I mean, granted, you had Scott Moyer and Madison Hubble as your coach. There was no way US figure skating was going to leave the team that is trained by Scott Moyer and Madison Hubble off the podium. In my mind, I knew that. But after I saw Christina Carreira and Anthony Ponomarenko skate, and then I saw Emily Zinglas and Vladimir Kolesnik skate, in my mind, I was like, there's no way they're not going to give this medal to Amelia and Vladim. They were so good. And then US skating was like, politics over talent, politics over talent. And they put by the tiniest of margin, they put Amelia and Vadim in the pewter position. Like, what kind of mathematical maneuvering were the judges doing backstage to come to that precise number? I would dearly like to know. Now, in third place, they've earned it. I wouldn't have put them there, but the judges did. So in third place, we had um, Christina Carreira and Anthony Ponomarenko. They're a perfectly good pair. I feel like she's the stronger of the two. Her lines, her edge, her depths are just a lot better in my opinion. I feel like Anthony needs to work on his posture a little for some odd reason. I feel like she's the stronger of the two, but they're a very nice skater. I feel like they're in the right environment in Montreal. I feel like with Madison Hubble and Scott Moyer and Marie-France Debris and that entire team, they are going to continue to level up each and every season. This particular season with these program at this outing, not particularly my favorite, but I am looking forward. They do pique my interest as a team, and I am invested to see how they grow. And of course, the silver medal, and rightfully so, went with Caroline Green and Michael Parson. Again, the programs, not the greatest. But thank God they changed her dress for the long program. Thank you, Talbot White. Thank you for changing that dress in the long program. Because that blue dress, that was not it. That was not it. And what a difference a dress makes. Yes, he still doesn't look that great, but you know what? We're gonna take what we could get. She looks fabulous in that dress. She's emoting more. She's a little more joyful. Maybe it's just me projecting because I hated the first dress and I love this dress. But I feel like this change in the dress really lifted the program to another level. I feel like they skated to their silver medal win and they rightfully earned that silver medal. Then we get to the gold medal, Madison Chock and Evan Bates. The scoreflation. Oh my God. Nationals across the board, whether it's in Russia, Canada, the US, the scoreflation, the score inflation that happens at nationals is absurd. Now, having said that, I will say this is the strongest that I have seen Madison Chock and Evan Bates all season, both in the short program and in the free dance. The rhythm dance I like a lot more than I like the free dance. The rhythm dance, it's not the best of the season. It doesn't have me getting out of my seat, but at least it's more aesthetically them. It's more in line with their unique, avant-garde sort of skating, as opposed to the free, which is just, I don't know how to describe it. But I feel like after Snake Charmer, after the alien trip, this is just so, uh, uh, so I just kind of want them, to wrap up this season and then go back to the drawing board and then come back with two brilliant programs next season. Now, the question is though, have they done enough? Have they put enough in the minds of the judges to make them world champion? That is the question. Have they done enough in the minds of the judges to make them world champion? I think they're inching that way. Every time we see them, even if we don't like the programs, they skate it a little better. They become a little stronger. Evan's knees are not buckling as much. The side by side twizzles are looking a little sharp. I really do think they did themselves a really good service at nationals by putting out two clean, strong programs. They really are trying to make that case for themselves as the world champions. Now, do I think it was the best idea for them to go to four continent? I don't know. If they go to four continent and they beat Piper and Paul, then it's a great idea. But if they go to four continent and Piper and Paul trumps them, then probably they should have skipped that. But we're gonna have to wait to see how that competition plays out. But all in all, I feel like unlike the pairs where the US is in trouble, and ice dance, I feel like US has an embarrassment of riches. The ice dance discipline is really deep, it's really thick. There's also a lot of juniors coming up that seems really interesting. I feel like the US is doing a really good job in terms of growing and maintaining their ice dance couples. So we're going to have to wait and see how all of that goes to be. But what I am taking away from the ice dance is that my poor babies, I guess I'm invested in them now. Remember, guys, I said that I didn't want to invest in Vladim because I was still not over him and Evelyn breaking up. But you know what? I think I'm a little invested in this new partnership. So I hope from now on, US figure skating do not try to play my poor babies, Amelia Zingas and Vladim Kolesnik. That's what I'm taking away from this event. My poor babies got buried. But not least of my US Nationals recap for the year 2023 is the women. Ooh, the women. Some of it was really good. Some of it not so good. Starting with the not so good. Poor Audrey Shin got destroyed in the short program. It's like the tech caller had a double shot of espresso right before Audrey went out on the ice because Audrey got hit with all of the under rotation. Now, I'm not saying her jumps are not under rotated. They are. After all, she's a Tammy Gamble student. That is a trademark of Tammy Gamble. However, US skating had all season to correct this fact. But they decided to wait until national to crush this child. The federation did not want to send Audrey Chen to Worlds, and they created a situation where they would not have to. Honestly speaking, Audrey literally was the second most consistent skater that the US had all season. Adding on to that, that was the best she has skated that short program all season. And when she was sitting in that kiss and cry, you knew she was expecting a 68 to a 70. And when she saw that 60 score, it crushed her. You saw how defeated she looked in that kiss and cry. And when Audrey stepped on that ice for that long program, she already stepped on there with a defeated mentality. She went on there saying, they're not going to send me to World. Why the hell should I even bother? There was no fight in that program. And I really feel like this was a horrible miscalculation and part of like US skating because you have so few women to begin with. You should be uplifting every single one, whether they could fully rotate or not. And for you to go in there and for you to bury Audrey Shen, one of the most consistent skater you've had all season, really tells you the US Figure Skating Federation needs to reorganize itself and hire some properly thinking people. Anyhow, then we had Gracie Gold. For me, a very respectable eighth place finish. Yes, it wasn't, the podium that we were all hoping for. It wasn't the storybook finish. But one of her best short program all season and also one of her best long program all season. If she can continue on this path of building, I really do think she could make the national team eventually. I hope that, the US Federation gives her the opportunity. They give her some senior Bs next season. They give her, maybe one or two Grand Prix to really let her get her feet back into international competition. But all in all, way to go, Gracie, getting that top 8 finish at national. The long program of the event for me, without a doubt, was Josephine Lee. Yes, that poor child popped her triple combination in the short program. However, as a junior making that transition to senior, that mistake in the short program could have easily derailed her. She could have came and she could have another implosion in the long program. However, she didn't. She didn't. She fought through. She cried when she had to, then got her mental strength together and literally had the best program of the long of this event for me. And the other thing I love about Josephine Lee is her jump technique. Watch how she jumps from her legs, goes straight up in the air and lands nice and soft. Beautiful, beautiful jump technique. I really hope that, as she progressed out of puberty, she's able to retain that jump technique. Then the biggest surprise of the women for me were two, not one, but two. The women were out there just surprising me left to right, starting with the pewter Star Andrews. Honestly, for me, Star, ever since juniors, where she was at the peak, for me in senior, she's always been an 8 to 12 skater. I've always placed her in nationals like top 8 to top 12. But for her to be the pewter winner here, for her to finish fourth here, really was not in any scenario that I could have written. That short program really was the best that I have seen her in years. She looks in great shape. Yes, she doesn't have the most difficult short program with just a triple toe, but that triple toe was fully rotated. She went up in the air straight and came down gently. Long program really, once again, wasn't her best, but it's a building. She's building. She's building her career up from where I would have placed her in 8th or 12th place. She managed to get herself to 4th place. Now she's gonna get, 2 Grand Prix assignment, a couple of senior Bs. If she can continue on this path, continue jumping that triple toe consistently, maybe being able to do a clean long program. Who knows what can happen next national? Then we had Miss Amber Glenn. I could not be happier. Oh my God. I had put Amber on my top 3 and I had crossed my fingers that she could make the world team. And she came in fighting. It wasn't perfect. The short, eh, but the judges were fairly generous with her and it kept her within striking distance. She came in the long, she went for the triple axel, she didn't land it perfectly, but it shows she has that mindset to fight. She's willing to fight. Again, not a perfect free program here. But the fight, determination, she never gave up on that program. She took it to the end. And I was so glad to see this version of Amber Glenn shows up. And I hope that an even better version of Amber Glenn shows up at World because I really do feel like she could be a very competitive skater if she could just get her nerves and consistency under control. The second surprise of this competition for me was Miss Brady Tennell. First of all, if the technical caller took a double shot of espresso for Audrey Shin, that technical caller went on a smoke break for Brady Tennell because both me and Stevie Wonder were looking at those jumps and saying that is obviously under rotated. But Miss Brady got no call. For some reason, U.S. figure skating really wants to send Brady Tennell to Worlds. Not really a choice that I personally would make, but I'm really glad to see Brady coming back from injuries. I know a lot of time figure skaters don't come back from injuries. So seeing her come back from injuries in her 20s in a sport that is so predominantly teen centered, that pushes women out of the sport as quickly as they possibly can. It is good to have Brady Tennell and all of the women still competing, still being competitive. We'll have to wait and see how she shows up at Worlds, if her jumps are rotated, and if they're not rotated, will the technical caller at World be as generous as the one at National was? And then, of course, we all knew she was going to win, and she did. Isabel Levito, of course, won this event. Now, when we talk about Isabel's jump technique, really look at how she jumps. When she goes for her jump, her chest almost touches her knees. That's how much back and hip she's putting into that jump. She's not jumping from her legs like Josephine Lee does. She is literally retching her back, bending it over her knees to get herself into the air to do that rotation. That classic Iteri technique is not a sustainable technique. It is a physically draining and harmful technique because she is putting in twice the amount of work as her competitors to do the same thing. But the U.S. figure skating doesn't seem to concern about that. And so we will see her at Worlds and we'll see how that plays out. All in all, I felt like the US women did a lot better than I was expecting. I honestly was expecting a lot of triple doubles, and there was considerable more triple triples than I thought there would be. I wasn't saying it's the most competitive event of the year, but the effort is being made. And I want to see what happens to some of these women in 2026, where they are competitively, what they can still do. And I feel like this environment that we're creating, it is the kind of environment where you will have these skaters with the proper technique last longer and have better career. And I feel overall that is good for the sport, that's good for the fan, and most importantly, that's good for the skating. So that was my take on the 2022 US National Figure Skating Championship. You guys let me know in the comment what was your takeaway? What did you think of the event?